You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode 168.3. Grant Shouse reports on Monday's boys basketball game between Tipton and Maconaquah.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Welcome back to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Grant Shouse. I took a little time away while not feeling great, but I am back at full strength, and here we are in the middle of girls basketball week, talking about a little boys basketball. Grant tonight for the Action Sports Network called Tipton's 62-61 win over Maconaquah. What a game, Grant.
Yeah, it really was, and it lived up to everything we thought it was going to be going in. Maconaquah is a high-powered offensive team, and they have the state's second leading scorer in Josiah Ball. He's averaging 30 points a game, going to Bethel. He became Maconaquah's all-time leading scorer last Friday at Lewis Cass. And then, of course, Tipton's got Grady Carpenter, who 22 points a game, Indiana All-Star candidate himself, going to Grace. And they battled it out tonight. Ball finished with 33, and Grady Carpenter had 24. And just, both teams hit some big shots down the stretch. Tipton was up 56-52 in the fourth quarter when there was about a 7-0 swing for Maconaquah. They scored 7 unanswered, jumped in front, got the lead back. It was then Tipton tying it up at 59. Maconaquah then hit a shot with Ball to make it 61-59, and then a big play, and then Landon Spidell ended up getting fouled down the stretch, a big and one, and he ended up tying the game at 59. That's what happened. I got it mixed up. He ended up tying the game at 59, and then Maconaquah hit a shot. I can't remember who hit it, but then Tipton ended up tying it at 61 again, and then with 11 seconds to go, Spidell for Tipton got fouled, and he hit 2 free throws. He really was the difference maker down the stretch in that game. He had 7 fourth quarter points for them, and he hit some big shots like the and one, and then the one of 2 free throws, make it 62-61. He hit the first, and then Coach Burris called a timeout for Maconaquah. John Burris called a timeout for Maconaquah, drew something up, and Tipton, give him credit on the very last possession of the game there, being up 62-61. Maconaquah they had a timeout. They had at least one timeout. They don't take it. They're playing for the win. Any shot that goes in is to win the game. And Ball had it. He ended up kind of getting flustered and gave it off to Kelly. And Tipton was going to do everything in their power to make sure Ball did not get the ball in the last 9 seconds, really. And they did a great job, got a huge stop there, and they deserved to win. AJ Kelly from Maconaquah, their second leading scorer, got the ball in the lane, threw it up, and missed. He actually ended up getting his own rebound, and his putback was no good too. So Maconaquah had a good look to win it. It was a good game, and Tipton really was desperate for a while. I really don't want to use the word desperate, but they kind of lost 3 in a row. And they were, they had their backs against the wall tonight. They were down late in the fourth quarter, and they ended up pulling it out. But they they haven't lost 4 in a row since the 2020-21 season, and they were, they were hell bent on winning that game, and they celebrated like they just won a sectional, and they deserve it.
That's a big win.
Quality win. Yeah, that's a quality win for Tipton after losing to 500 Adams Central team on Saturday night by 17 at home. That's a quality win, and they deserved it. And both teams have played kind of an NBA schedule. It was both teams, third game in 4 days. They both played back-to-backs
Yeah.
on Friday and Saturday, and then they have, Sunday off,
For
for
both of
Thanksgiving.
them, for both of them,
Yeah.
Grant, the alternative was almost either do it now or you do it the week or two before the postseason. You don't want to do it then, so you kind of had to
Yeah.
do it now.
Yeah. And I, as a broadcaster, I was good with it. I was, making my schedule for a couple weeks ago, and I saw that's when it got moved. And I told my boss, I was like, hey, that's when it got moved. I'll go over and do that game. And, I was good with it. You have two legendary coaches. Cliff Hawkins, I'm sure, as you know, is closing
Yes.
in on his 600th career victory. And actually, I believe coming up in the Oak Hill game would be his 1,000th coached game, if my
Wow.
math tells me right. He's coached almost 1,000 games. He's closing in on it. And so it's just, Tipton is very well coached. Cliff Hawkins a Hall of Fame coach, and so I mean, so's John Burris. I think John Burris in Maconaquah is a Hall of Fame level coach, but Tipton, I think, just made one more play, one more last push than Maconaquah did, and
Tipton, kind of as Grady Carpenter and Sam Quigley have gone, so have gone the Blue Devils. Any points outside of those two have kind of been bonus points at this, most of the season. So to get a 14.6 rebound performance from Landon Spidell, they will take that every time, won't they?
of course, and he'll tell you he is not their primary guy. He is there to clean it up around the rim, and Quigley and Carpenter run the show. And really, when Tipton had the ball late in the fourth quarter, there was a possession where the ball when Spidell got fouled to go win the game, the ball, believe it or not, really never got in Grady Carpenter's hands. And we said it on the broadcast. I was like, this ball has to go to Grady Carpenter. He has orchestrated the offense here tonight, and they didn't give him the ball, and I don't know if that was by design or just how the flow of the game happened. He just didn't get. It's not that they were covering him up. He just didn't have the ball in his hands, and so you were like, well, you got to be careful for a turnover because Grady doesn't really turn the ball over. I mean, we all know that he's one of the best passers in the state, and if not the best. And when the ball got to Spidell, they just made one more play. And Coach Burris told us before the game, he said, Grady Carpenter could fill a suitcase. He could find a way to fill a suitcase, even if it was zipped closed. And it's an amazing terminology. He said he's
Great
very.
imagery. All right, Grant McConaughey was coming off a 5-game winning streak in which they beat four at least really good teams, including Kokomo in there, um, Western, Hamilton Heights, really good teams. Any concern after two losses in a row for them?
No, I just think they're in a tough part of their schedule. And, I mean, isn't that the way it's supposed to be, right?
It
You
is.
kind of want to play tougher teams down the stretch of your season. Playing Brownsburg the other night, Brownsburg's coach, Steve Lynch, he went to Tippy Valley, so he's kind of from the area, a little familiar, good friends with Coach Burris. And, that's why that game was on the schedule. I don't think that game's going to be on the schedule next year. It was a 2-year deal, and I was actually kind of sitting right there when they kind of determined that maybe they didn't want to play each other, next year. And it makes sense. Maconaquah is and there's no knock on them because they'll still end up being a good team, but they're not going to have ball next year. They're not going to have really their three main studs that have
Right.
done a lot of work for them, and so they're going to get Brownsburg off the schedule, but they I don't think there's a reason to be concerned if you're a Maconaquah fan. They've won 11 games, only 4 losses. They just came up short. I mean Tipton just made one more play more than better than Maconaquah did tonight. I mean,
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Maconaquah doesn't bounce back from this on Thursday and beats Northwestern. Northwestern's good. They're well coached too, they're going to be up for it. But Coach Burris and them, they're hard nosed on the defensive end. They want to run defense. They want to get up. They want to pressure you. And on the offensive end, they have an open ended offense. They're going to get out. They're just going to they're just going to run up and down the floor. They're not really going to run sets. They're not really going to run plays. They're not going to run a specific offense, like work the ball or run a motion offense. They're just going to go out and they're going to look for the best shot that they have. And that's what Coach Burris's teams have always done, and they've done a good job doing it. It's the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And
So,
quite a trio they have there.
yeah, they do. Fuddy Kyle, Josiah Ball, and A.J. Kelly. Of course, A.J. Kelly's grandpa, John Kelly, was for a short time a basketball coach as well, along as being the tennis coach there at Elwood. So, there's basketball in that family, and Josiah Ball, like we already mentioned, is a great player. All-time leading scorer at Maconaquah, Indiana All-Star candidate too. And then Fuddy Kyle is a guy that's kind of like their version of Landon Spidell. And that's what Coach Burris was talking about after the game with us was that they the teams mirror each other so much. Like Ball is their Carpenter, Kelly is their Quigley, and Kyle is their Spidell kind of in terms of he could score around the rim. He's not very tall. He could score around the rim, and he just hustles. Like he hustles for rebounds. He's not really a skilled player. He's just able to go get a big rebound if they need one, and this is a team that really doesn't rebound it all that well, but Kyle's averaging about 10 rebounds a game. So it's a well-oiled machine for Maconaquah, and there's other guys to, look out for. They have a good supporting cast as well with Landon Adams and then Devin Murray, who had a real nice game for them tonight too.
All right, Grant, we're going to shift our attention mostly to girls basketball here for at least a week. Although
Yep.
Thursday, we're going to have a lot of boys basketball, Saturday afternoon as well. But what do you have coming up for the week?
Tomorrow night, Tuesday, we'll be up at Norwell. I'll be at Norwell all week, actually. Norwell and Marion girls tomorrow night, 7:30. Derek Decker and I will be on the call. Derek Decker's great. He, makes me sound like a local hack. So he'll be on the and maybe I am. I don't know. But he'll be on the him and I will be on the call for that one, and then we're kind of I wouldn't say anticipating, but Norwell is definitely the favorite in that game over Marion. So we plan on being back there Friday regardless for the Mississinawa game. So we'll have a team in the championship Saturday at Norwell. So I'll be there all week for the girls. And then Thursday, I'm at Marion for Marion and Muncie Central boys. Should be an interesting one.
Should be.
Good old old-fashioned NCC rivalry. Wednesday, I'm kind of going out of order, so I'm sorry, but I just
No
thought of this.
problem.
Wednesday, I was thinking about going, just being a fan, kind of working for my website at the Tipton-Lapel game on Wednesday night.
Thank you so much to Grant for his time. Always appreciate it. And thank you for listening. Please don't forget to go like, subscribe, or follow us so you don't miss a single segment. We are on SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and YouTube. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report, and we are easy to find. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.